brother. Everybody does.
Well, here we go again. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal war just got even messier. And if you thought the first round was a train wreck, buckle up, because the amended complaint just dropped. And let's just say, it's not exactly the legal slam dunk Lively was hoping for.
Morning Mayhem, Tommy and Casper's live. Dodging bullets of our past, now we strive. Recovery mode, ex-addicts unchained. Current events laced with the scars we gained.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Mayhem show. I am Casper, and that is Tommy. How are you doing, Tommy?
Man, that fires me up, dude. That intro music every single time. Even if you're not like you didn't get your coffee or whatever, there's something about that just drives. It hits. I get fired up about it. I was up wicked late. Reese's and happy.
I know you were.
She was kind about it, but she wasn't happy. No joke whatsoever. They dropped that stupid freaking lawsuit with less than 60 seconds, the amended complaint, with less than 60 seconds to go before it would have been. Now, are you doing that just to make a point, or are you that unprepared?
Dude, it's who knows, man. It's They probably had a first draft, sent it over to them, and it was they're like, no, we want them we want it to say, how we've been abused in the media or whatever,
It did read like a friggin' romance novel. I mean, it does not read. It's such a terribly. They're going for maximum effect in terms of like pulling at heartstrings, but they said some things in this amendment. I'm going to paraphrase because it's 140 pages long.
Yeah.
It literally is 140 pages long. So, but to paraphrase the stuff that really jumps off the paper, one would be there are two other people that complained about this, and they that complained about Baldoni. They claim that these were made long before she tried to take over the production. And I'm not joking. That's basically how they say it. So,
yeah.
They're almost admitting that she went in there and tried to take over the production. But anyway, this happened long before that. It has nothing to do with any of that. That's the big takeaway is that there are these other complaints out there, which they have been leaked. I have them. A lot of people have them. I just didn't put them up because I figured if TMZ turned them down, I'm not going to run with it. It's going to make me look like a jackass, right? But yeah. I've read the complaints. Here's the part that is a real problem. Blake Lively files a lawsuit against everybody except Sony. Sony's left out of the complaint, which doesn't make any sense. Now, you could say, well, her beef is only with Wayfair, or people say, well, they're the production company. So, they just did distribution. They didn't have anything to do with distribution company. They didn't have anything to do with producing the film, blah, blah, blah. But the complaints allegedly were filed with Sony. If Sony didn't take that and make it a safe work environment, why would you not list Sony in your lawsuit? That makes no sense, man.
That's right.
So it's just another one of these cases of, when she filed for a 2-week extension, that's what they were asking for, right? They wanted to come back more than that. Actually, they wanted to come back in March. And the judge said, no, you're the ones that filed this. You didn't have your ducks in a row. I'll tell you what, I'll give you one more day. You also have a holiday. So it's like getting a couple of extra days, right? You got Monday's a holiday, but they were given one extra day. I think they needed weeks to try to go hustle up the people who filed the complaints in these things that were leaked, that I have a copy of or whatever. They redacted a lot of stuff on there. That's very common with anything in HR. They redacted the date. Why would you redact the date? That's not something that ever gets redacted. Like it doesn't even get redacted in
timeline is important. Timeline is important.
Is a fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you redact the dates of when these incidences happened, the only thing that I can think of is all of these people decided to file these lawsuits after the fact. This would explain why Baldoni's attorney has said in the press, I think 3 different places so far that I know of, most recently on Billy Bush Hot Mic show. He said, all of these things, everything that has been filed in this case. Hold on one second, man. Can you hear that? I'm sorry, Casper. Talk for 1 second. I'm having a microphone problem that's driving me insane, and I can't. It's going.
Are you getting an echo or?
No, I'm getting. It sounds like someone's crunching a tin can. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, he told me to talk for a second. So what my take is on a lot of this is that this, with the new stuff that they are presenting, and then they've added to this, that it's a lot of this, but no receipts. Like, correct. So all these things that they're saying with other victims and other, they're saying it, but no victims.
No, correct. There's nothing to back it up. They even said in there, but let me finish the thought because my microphone freaked out. The thought I was saying was, this cat has said 3 times there were no other things filed, not with Sony, not with anybody. He has said this. He's a friggin' attorney. This guy, I promise you, as he said in the interview with Billy Bush too, when they said, what kind of due diligence have you done? I read every single text message, every email, everything. He knows the entire case. They've come forward, and it says in the complaint, this person reached out to Miss Lively to say this. This person reached out to Miss Lively to say this, but they do not footnote. All right, here's the text message. They go as far as to say in there, we're not going to put the text messages and stuff in here to protect the privacy of the people. What?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then tell him Tommy Scoville was sending you emails too, right? I mean, tell him I was. Yeah. I mean, shit. Why not? Right? You can throw in whatever you want if we're just taking your freaking word for it. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, man. It really is. There's nothing here, people.
And what's crazy too is that the some of the text that they did put in there, and look, it's a huge opus or whatever you want to call it. Damn it! I just spilled coffee everywhere.
That's how I lost my last computer, bro.
Yeah,
that's exactly how the last one went down. It was a squirrel nut zipper with the assist, but
it's because I'm using this big ass coffee cup because I forgot to run the dishwasher last night. But anyway,
short, squat, and round. That's what you're looking for. Short, squat, and preferably they should say allegedly on them.
That's right. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so they did put some text in their new filing, and they redacted the users, but down in the little notes they have all the users' names, in like the annotations or whatever you want to call
footnotes.
it. Yeah, the footnotes. They're in, is the links and the names of the people that they redacted in the main document. So
did you
I don't know if that's laziness or if that might answer the question. Like they were running out of time
down to the wire.
To the wire. So
down to the wire. Why? Because your first complaint was BS. You put your first complaint out, you filed it. The New York Times shares it with the entire world, right? And we do what we should do. We step up and we say all of the facts aren't in yet. However, I'm going to stand with Ms. Lively, and I'm going to support this person until I have reason to do otherwise. And no joke, man. I kind of feel like a rocket scientist because that's kind of what we did. We said we're gonna stand with the victim until we have a reason to believe she's not a victim. Now, this is third time this year this has happened to us, by the way. There are a lot of people that now in the Diddy case, it's a little different. It's obviously money grab stuff, but Blake Lively doesn't need cash. This is really odd. And the stuff that drives this, I think, is fascinating to most people because the common belief, I think, now is that there was some real sexual tension between Ms. Lively and her co-star. And this is not something that Ryan Reynolds was cool with, right? He's and this is what most people believe started this, that this was some kind of she had a crush on this guy kind of a thing. And she was spurned. And because she was, and her advances were rebuffed, a lot of people are theorizing that this is what went down. She's fallen in love with a lot of people on a lot of sets, including this novel she's married to now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how
it happens.
It does.
I think it's kind of funny too that the beginning of the document is devoted to all these like quotes and statements that Baldoni has made. Yeah, that are from him, that they're trying to say that make him look like a con man, or I don't know what they're trying to say, but actually I think it's backfiring. It paints him to look like,
they put up stuff from his podcast, and they put up stuff from a book that he wrote, which is all about admitting that maybe you aren't always great to women. That doesn't mean
I'm listening. I gotta grab a towel. I'm listening, but I gotta grab a towel.
Yeah. It's not as if he was apologizing for essaying somebody, but what he was saying is there have been times in his life that because he's a dude, he probably didn't treat women on equal footing. And I want to tell you something. If there's a guy on planet Earth that can say, in my lifetime, I've never, treated a woman differently. There's never been a time where because I'm bigger or stronger or louder or whatever, I just kind of bullied someone. And I don't mean physically or whatever, but he didn't either. He just meant that there's toxic masculinity, that it exists. Now, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of that freaking phrase, toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
But you got to wonder, would you call Blake Lively toxically feminine? Honestly,
yes.
This is a woman that uses her beauty and everything else as a weapon, and then makes up lies, right? Using the fact that she is a woman, and leveraging that to destroy someone. I was talking about this with Quibs last night, and she just said, "You know how happy I am. I'm not a guy. It's got to be terrifying. Like the tour bus. We're doing a tour bus. It's happening." Right. The lifeboat is going to be putting together a tour bus, and we're going to be heading to some cool venues because of this. Now, and I said to Quibs, I'm like, I can, you stop. Let's say I'm doing a court case, and you can pull off one of the paralegals that works for one of the sides and say, "Hey, hop in here. Let's do an interview." And I said, and the beautiful thing is it'll be wired for sound. There won't be anything inside there that's not being recorded. And she's like, "Well, you wouldn't want to record everything." I'm like, "No, you would want to record everything. I'm not getting in a bus with a woman that I've never met. I'm not in the world we live in today, man. It takes one allegation." Now, here's the thing. Yes, and
I call those guardrails. I like to keep, especially as a Christian, I have guardrails for my marriage. And I didn't coin that term. It's Billy Graham used to talk about it. He never goes and has a lunch alone with another woman because we don't want no misconception, whatever.
No hint of impropriety. They don't even want a whiff of impropriety. Now, it's interesting that you say that, because there's a lot of that in this case, right? He said things that were inappropriate to me, like to say to somebody, "Hey, you smell good." That is kind, or you smell, it smells great or whatever. That could be creepy. Taken out of context, that could sound creepy. How about talking to somebody about shoving a suppository in you? Or making goofy references to things like suppositories in your ass. The correspondence that
Not
she
cool.
has. I have a thumbnail that I'm going to be using later on the lifeboat. And it's the thumbnail of her standing with a man who, by the way, looks like he might have done a couple of crunches in his life. But he's laying on his back, and he's got his legs completely spread-eagled in the air. And she is there kind of almost like in missionary position. If she was a dude, she'd look like she was drilling this guy. And he's holding a martini glass while all of this is going on. This is a woman who doesn't get offended easily, I promise you. This is a woman who's ready to toss out foul dick jokes with her husband with the best of them. And I'm not making this up off the top of my head.
Dude,
there's a bazillion clips of film of her.
Yeah.
There's a billion clips of film of this chick saying things that that stars don't say. One of the reasons that when everybody always goes, "Oh, it's that she's like that beautiful and glamorous classic Hollywood." Oh no, she's not. She's got just a trashy kind of I don't know. There's something about Blake Lively that
Yeah.
Yes, Twin J. Hold on. You know what? I may just have that, believe it or not. Look at this, Casper. Oh no, I'm not on my I'm not on my platform. I was about to pull that up because I actually had it locked and loaded on the lifeboat. But if you look up the picture, it's for an advertisement for gin. And it's a picture of her laying on her back. I mean, a guy laying on his back with his feet in the air. And she is right in the position where her groin is tucked right up against his, what's the word he used? He didn't say taint. He said perineum, right? Again, these are people that talk about inappropriate conversations. When he says to a guy, I'll tattoo your line director's face onto my taint if you could get him to move the shooting schedule by 10 days. Again, if that sounds like it's a small thing, the last time I did this, Casper wasn't on with me. But do you have any idea what it takes to move a shoot 10 days? They could have booked that. You gotta get licenses from cities. You got to do all of these things that you may have to do a year in advance. Now you're going to do what? Call up the city of Burbank and go, hey, Blake and Ryan, they don't like being a part. Could we move this by 10 days? Call the people you're renting the equipment from. Call every single employee you got. He was asking to move the world, and again, just inappropriate. The things that the people say. I could have that conversation with Casper. If you went through all of my text people, you'd find me a little rough around the edges. Right? You've probably heard, if you've been a fan of this channel for any length of time, you've probably heard me screaming at somebody on some troll channel, because there are definitely been audios of me screaming at people. I do it. Everybody does it, right? But we don't pretend not to. What these people are doing behind the scenes, at the exact same time, they're coming out and saying, "Oh, how offensive!" He discussed the fact that he used to be addicted to pornography. Shocker! It's in his book. So the whole damn book is about. Like, this is not something that is a great secret. And I don't know. And if you said to me, woman, man, whatever, if you said, yeah, I used to be addicted to pornography, it was a part of my life, whatever. That's it. Get me some paperwork. I'm going to HR. Did you just mention pornography around me? There's got to be a payday in there somewhere. They have to go back. This is it. And tell me if you think I'm wrong. Put a deuce in the chat when I'm done if you think this makes sense. They had to create that. They asked for 2 weeks to take everything that has happened and go, what can we pull together to make this dude look like shit? Like, bottom line, how can we pull something together? And then you got a judge that says, no, we need it by midnight. Look, man, they were under a minute away from not getting this amendment in. And as Casper mentioned, they redact up top. They don't redact in the footnote. There is a footnote in there that literally, it's a polar opposite. Like I wish I had the effing thing in front of me, but I had it on video. I don't have it on a printed copy.
What page? Do you know what page about? In the middle, in the beginning?
It's not in the it's the a lot of it is the old stuff. This would have been part of the new thing, but it's one of the footnotes. All it does, basically, the bottom line is this: the footnote doesn't explain what just happens. It does the exact opposite. It's like a stop sign, right? And then in the footnote, it says, go really quickly when you see this. Like, it is that polar opposite. When I read the footnote, this is the wrong footnote. I'm looking around like, where did I misplace this? Because this is like, this makes no sense. This is really, really bad.
Yeah.
And look at this.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's so much vague stuff, gosh, man, there's so much I don't even know where to begin.
Kristen Melinda is kind of the go-to for this kind of thing because she does work in she was in a world where HR was a big thing, and she's this is something. Yeah, people, I can't stress this enough, and I'm glad someone else did. That sometimes we throw so much out that things seem like we make a lot of minor points. This is a massive point, right? This really is a huge freaking point. You're gonna accuse this guy and say that women went and made these complaints, but you're gonna redact the dates on any of this stuff. And I'm telling you, these were leaked out because they were hoping, right? There's no way this happened any other way. How is it that we all got those 3 HR complaints? 5 or 6 different channels have already read them out. They've been discussed, they've been debated. Okay, so they were leaked, right? And no one wants to run with it. What does that tell you about where these people are? Honestly, TMZ got it. TMZ got it first. meaning the lawyers or whoever, right? The paralegal, or it just fell out. Like somebody at Kinko's, man, they pulled this out of the trash, right? They forgot to clear the bullshit. Anyway, they mail it off to TMZ, and even old Harvey Levin's like, yeah, I don't know, man. All of the complaints.
Yeah, and there's no resolution from them. They didn't stop
in my face so hard and so close that my makeup had to be redone.
Yeah.
Your film makeup had to be redone from a person breathing on you. I want to tell you something. You could put somebody behind the tailpipe. Yeah, you could put somebody behind the tailpipe of an 18-wheeler and gas that rascal up, and you're not going to have to worry about makeup coming off from someone breathing on you. What is this, a dime novel?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's written like a bad high school paper. And as I'm reading it, right, these are the complaints, not the amended stuff, but the actual HR complaints. There are 3 of them, and one is from Blake Lively. The other 2 are from other people. One they assume is Plank, and the other is Isabella, I think is the woman's name. She played the young Blake Lively or whatever. That woman that played the young Blake Lively, there is a series of text messages and quotes that she has said. One of them she did live, and they asked her, this was your first big picture. What's the takeaway from the first big film that you've worked in? And she said, yeah, I've done other projects. I'm paraphrasing. I've done other projects, but this was the first big one. And the takeaway was, I just want to thank everybody. They were fantastic. What a crew. And of all the people there, she names Blake Lively, right? She did mention Blake. And she mentions Baldoni by name and says, I've never been more comfortable. Her takeaway was, she really wanted to thank Baldoni for creating a workspace that she could create in and feel completely unencumbered with nothing. Wait, what? This is the dude that sexually harassed you, and you allegedly filed documents with Sony about this. I understand that you want to put out your best foot forward for the film or whatever, but this is the same crew that's saying the reason that they're on the press tour without him is because they're terrified of him. And your answer, they didn't say, hey, tell me about Baldoni and his directing. How was that? The question was, what was your takeaway from the film? And the takeaway was, this guy that sexually harassed me made such a great place to work. People, that doesn't pass the smell test. She also there are 2 text messages that he has released. You can see them. And these text messages, one is before the alleged incident, or when we assume it would have taken place because of when she filmed. We have a pretty good idea of when. So one of these text messages was before that. And he was just kind of putting her mind at ease about what the set was going to be like and how it was going to be, whatever. And the other one was after they had filmed. And she was doing the exact same thing she did in the interview. Thank you so much, man. I was stressed out. I'm working with all these big people. It's my first time, and you made this so easy. You made this so what? Man, you should have researched. You guys messed up. And I believe this is a theory, but I believe that they're sitting in a room going, all right, who we got? Well, Plank, right? Plank used to be the co-host on the show that Baldoni did, the feminist podcast that he did. She was his co-host. After the complaints by Lively, she said, that's it. I'm stepping away in light of what I just heard. Huh? In light of what you just heard, you're going to step away. Didn't you file a complaint a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
But you had to wait to hear Blake Lively's complaint before you decided to step away from the podcast?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't pass the smell test, people. Sounds like BS to me.
No, it's all BS, dude. It's all BS. And then she makes all those strange complaints in it, in the new one about how she's like turning down jobs, and she's not turning down jobs. She's not getting any offers. I promise you. If she's getting offers, it's probably from Reynolds' thing. Claims a process server presented to be a food delivery person.
The guy from Aaron Rents is here.
Yeah. And she's accusing Baldoni of weaponizing lawsuits to pressure her into dropping the case. Okay.
First of all, yeah, she's no pro.
He's rejecting all your claims, dude. And dude, there's just so much, man. I'm just reading down the list of notes I made. All the complaints she's making in this new one, that he crafted a detailed PR campaign to discredit her. And then she mentions the 68-page timeline.
This is why it's so important for them to try to score this fishing expedition. And that is what everybody's been calling it, right? Completely.
And accuses him of zero proof of digital things. There's a whole website with digital proof.
Right.
Go ahead. Okay.
Blake Lively names she named the PR firms, right? Crisis PR was one of them, but she's named in the lawsuits. They're mentioned, and she also continues to say that she just was not sexually harassed by Baldoni. She keeps mentioning his partner, right? The one that she filed the complaint against because he had he looked her in the eyes, right? He came in and she was breastfeeding. He said, "Oh, you know what? I can leave." She said, "No, stick around for the meeting." And then he looked her in the eyes. And she actually wrote that up. It made her uncomfortable because a black man looked her in the eyes. How do you write that? Like, what kind of a person? I mean, even if you go to HR and you actually do this, how do you say, "I'm uncomfortable because he looked me in the eyes"? Where did you want him to look at you?
Yeah.
Right? You got. I'm not being disrespectful, but you got a boob out, right? You got a tit out. You got a kid there. You want him to look at your breast? He's gonna stare at your eyes. His name's Jamie. He's supposed to be, again, one of the kindest people on planet Earth.
Yeah, and old boy's a billionaire. The old boy's got it like that, right? And she's claiming that he said, and this isn't what he said, but I'm going to say what she said. He said,
God, this is great.
That I'm gonna use all the resources available to me to take her down. That's not what he said. He says, I'm gonna use all my available resources to refute her claims. To, you know what I mean? To not to take her down, but to fight this case, this false
That's one
case.
of the footnotes. That's one of the footnotes I was talking about. It says up above, he swore he would take them off the planet, use all of his resources. I'm paraphrasing, right? All of his resources.
Yeah.
And then when you get down there, it says, you see the footnote, and he said, "Yeah, I would be willing to spend everything I have to defend these two."
Yep.
Where do you get? I mean, those are so polar opposite of what if someone's attacking you, most assuredly you're going to put your most vigorous defense up, right, to help that person. That's completely different than I'm going to wipe you off the planet. And in this, it said, no lie, right? In the complaint, they claim that it was said, "We're going to do to you what the Jews are doing to Gaza." This is in the complaint that they allegedly said there were, I don't remember the number, 30,000. There were 3,200 people dead. Well, there's only going to be 2 dead in the street this time.
Yeah.
Yep. That passed the smell test. I'm sure they were sitting around talking about they needed, you know what? No joke. I can hear it in my head. And you hear Ryan Reynolds going, "No, you got to put something in that's going to freak people out so bad that it becomes the headline they run with, right? City's going to leave 2 in the street like they did in Gaza." Oh, please, man. Honestly, God. You know, and tunnels and tunnels with Starbucks in them. I'm sorry. Sometimes people, just a little bit of common sense. The way this was written sounds like it's written by a high schooler who is taking their first creative writing class. Yeah. Legal documents aren't written like this. As Casper alluded to earlier, it starts out with a quote from Baldoni's book where he talks about, what it means to be a better man and to not push, use your toxic masculinity. And I'm paraphrasing, but it talks about being a better man. And they throw that out there as if to say, well,
can I read it real quick?
Crap. Absolutely. Because
it says, it says, "Are you confident enough to listen to the women in your life, to hear their ideas and their solutions, to hold their anguish and actually believe them, even if what they're saying is against you? And will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words, 'Me too'?" Are you talking about that quote?
Yeah. Well, it continues. I mean, that's the first quote, but the entire how many pages are just talking about him? They want to paint him as a feminist and then destroy him as not really being one. Once again, that's great.
And then in the complaint,
good creative speaking,
say one thing and then put in quotes from him. And they do it like through almost the first 50 pages. Yeah. Like doing all these like bizarre quotes, like, he did this, but then he or like quote unquote, they're saying what? Yeah, they're just. Oh man,
what Casper's trying to say is while they are writing out this complaint, they will use phrases that he uses in his book, right? In defense of women, to and they put it in quotes. He didn't do this, which he always listed in the book. And this is very interesting to me because it doesn't smack of a lawyer, right? This doesn't sound to me, it sounds like creative writing. It sounds like a shitty dime novel. It sounds like a person who rewrote that scene on the rooftop in the movie It Ends With Us. It's bad writing is what it is. Yeah. It's not, it's very odd how all of this was put together. Really, really strange stuff. That's a great interview, by the way. It's a short one, but it's a very funny
I was just reading that comment. Yeah. That's funny.
Martha Stewart, she was on like some kind of a one of those things where they ask a bunch of people stuff because she's standing on a little platform like halfway up a wall. It's a very odd little segment, but they're asking her a series of questions. They used to do stuff like this with stars all the time on shows where they would ask 20 people the same thing. But Martha Stewart was asked about and Ryan Reynolds, and she said, nah, you know what? He's not funny. Now, there's other bad blood because once I saw that, Sarah, I went and looked it up to see because it seemed weird to me, but there is bad blood between them that goes beyond that. What I found is this. You remember the recipe for the muffin, the blueberry muffin recipe for $165 from Blake Lively? Okay. Blake Lively decided to become Martha Stewart for real. And she started there was a whole campaign that she was rolling out and she was doing all these things and making videos of her cooking and doing all this. It didn't exactly fly, but somebody had said to Martha Stewart, what do you think? And Martha Stewart said, she's an actress who makes a ton of money. Why the hell would she want to be me? That's stupid. Maybe not the greatest response, but they don't seem to like each other. And she said, he's not funny. She said, yeah, you would think he's funny. Yeah, you see all the movies. He's not funny. She made it sound very cold-heartedly that he's not a particularly nice guy. Yeah. My question is why? What is the point of the whole deal? To appease Ryan's jealousy? To further her career by getting attention? I don't get it. I think here's what happened. What happened is, in my opinion, all this is an opinion, but in my opinion, there was some real jealousy between Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. And I don't know if you've ever been with a toxically jealous person before, but they will pressure you to try to get rid of this person or not talk to this person or do whatever. And I could absolutely see her trying to destroy this guy. Now, picture this for a scenario. Everybody knows that there's a little bit of tension or whatever, and there was a couple of scenes that kind of seem weird, but now all of a sudden there's bad blood. They knew while this was being filmed, right? Allegedly, everybody around this knew that this was a very toxic environment. However, not really a shocker because everybody that has worked with this woman says that most of the sets that she's on are toxic. But once the rumors started to get out, they knew that one of two things was going to happen, and it was going to be Blake Lively getting trashed more because her reputation already sucks, or they were going to get out in front of it. And I think that their hope was to get out in front of it, leak a lawsuit to the New York Times. I don't think they had any plans of following through. You know how many times lawsuits get filed and then they just sort of go away? I think she wanted some headlines. And I think that this was a way to protect her career because the narrative was coming out that was a shit set to work on, that nobody had any fun working on that set. And Casper could tell you, it doesn't take a lot of those to destroy a career. So Blake Lively, there are already people saying she is not fun to work with. So when this one was getting legs, I think she saw an out. And she saw a way to make her husband happy, right? Because the husband's jealous. If he wasn't, he wouldn't reassemble the entire damn crew of Marvel just so that he could make a
perfect example of that is Charlize Theron. She was super difficult to work with, and it destroyed her career. And yeah, her, but not so much her as. Do you ever see the one with where the girl Knocked Up?
Yeah. Oh,
The girl in that, she was on that TV show.
yeah. Everybody help us out since we're both brain dead. Can you put the name of the woman that played the lead in Knocked Up?
Yep. And she was in that with the surgeons. It's the longest running sitcom ever. I can't remember the name of it.
They're gonna give it to us in a second. So just hang out. Yeah,
Grey's Anatomy. Yep, she was in Grey's Anatomy.
They're gonna give you her name in a second. We got it.
Man,
There's 400 people. Katherine Heigl. Now you want to hear something funny? I was watching Family Guy last night.
Yeah,
I was watching Family Guy last night, prepping, writing down stuff and taking notes. And they were at a dog show, right? In Family Guy, Brian was competing in it, and they said, and this year's Bitch of the Year, 4th year running, goes to Katherine Heigl. Sorry, but it cracked me up. There's another great, the woman that played in the you know what? I'm not going to go down the memory hell lane. I totally apologize. I'm just not going to do it. It gives me all it does is demonstrate my my brain damage, and I'm not going to go down there. Charlize dated Sean Penn and was very controlling like Ryan. They were both strong-willed like Ryan, and Blake too. I did not know as far as the proof so far has been very one-sided. Both camps have made allegations, right?
What's SH? Oh, harassment. Okay, got it.
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be any, if you really want to know the truth, at least that they've put out. Now, if we want to play devil's advocate and be fair, and I do, believe it or not, want to be fair in spite of the fact that she is just a rotten person, right? Let's give the benefit of the doubt. So the amended complaint says there are 2 people that filed a sexual harassment HR complaints with Sony. Now, we believe that one is going to be Jenny Slate, and the other is going to be this Isabella that played her when she was younger. She plays a younger version of Blake Lively in the film. But what it says in the amended complaint is these people have text messages and emails. They're not putting them in the complaint, but they're out there, right? They're willing to testify, that kind of thing. But they don't have receipts. Baldoni went a completely different route. He just said, here, check it all out, man. That leads you to believe perhaps that maybe, I don't know. Do me a favor. If anything that is going to come out in an amended complaint is going to change how you look at this, put a 3 in there. I was open-minded, whether you believe that or not. I really was.
Yeah.
But this doesn't pass the smell test. If the HR complaints for that, were circling the other day, are real, they could have been receipts in her complaint. Where are they in her complaint? You know what, Lauren? You're right. If these things are out there and we've all seen them, why don't they have them? Why don't they have them in there? I don't think they exist. And I think, pay attention. I think this is my theory. My theory is that they wanted a couple of weeks and they wanted to pull this camp together. And the proof isn't Jenny Slate the girl that just got she's the one that got flown out to talk for the documentary on Wrexham where she said a bromance is. She was the expert that they brought out and paid for that. They've been trying to rally the troops, right? Candace Owens has been talking about this at length and done a really great job of sort of hunting down all of the receipts of how they are trying to get all of the people from the show on board to hate on Baldoni. Now, we also have some receipts of her saying that she did that to Penn Begley when he first joined on Gossip Girl, right? We heard her say that. Yeah, I didn't like him. I got the whole cast to hate him. This dumb woman didn't keep her mouth shut ever. In fact, I promise you, the greatest nuggets we haven't even found yet, because there's so much out there. There are people that are just going through everything and going through everything. Yeah, nothing in this changed my thoughts either. And the reason it really didn't, I think that they leak out the HR stuff so that the world will think, oh, there's something more there. I think they're just looking for a lawn. Casper and I talked about this. If you guys have ever skated, and you start going down a hill and you're going a little bit too fast and the board starts doing that little speed wobble underneath you, and you're looking for that lawn. That's right. Yeah. Your legs are doing this one, and you're looking for the softest place to eat shit. You're looking for the softest place to tuck and roll, and because you're going to end up hurt, but you don't want to be really hurt.
Yeah.
I think they're looking for a lawn. And I think that this leak of this is perfect timing. If you think about this from a scumbag standpoint, here's what we'll do. We'll send over the HR complaints with the dates redacted. We'll send them over to TMZ. We'll leak them to about 40 or 50, good size content creators, and we'll get the rumor out there. We'll seed this that there are complaints, and here they are, and they're not fun to read. I've read them. They're, in each case, they don't rise to the level of, where he's trying to R word, but it's creepy stuff, right? It is. The stuff that they claim from him is creepy, but the way the stuff is written, when you go in and you have an HR violation, right? Somebody has done this to you. You walk in and you go, this person made me feel really uncomfortable. They got right up in my face. They said this, this, and this. His breath was so hot. And it was there for so long that I literally had to have my makeup redone. It's just not something somebody would say, even if it was real. You know what I mean? It's just a very odd way to describe a really kind of hard situation. But this Isabella, we talked about her already, right? One of the 3 complaints is the woman that went on a interview unprompted, right? Unprompted. The question wasn't, hey, tell us how Baldoni was on the set. It was, what's your takeaway from the movie? Well, Baldoni walks on water. Her response was, the director made this so comfortable. There was not a moment where I felt uncomfortable. Wow, what a bummer of a thing for your witness to say about the person she claims sexually harassed her. Just does not make sense at all, right?
Mm-mm.
It really doesn't. But if you leak that out, you get it out. They were hoping TMZ would run with it. Then the amended complaint comes in. And you don't really have to put it in. You can just say there are HR complaints out there. And we've already had them leaked. Now there's your soft lawn. Now they're going, oh, it is a he said, she said. If people bought into it, we'd be going, well, we really don't know, do we? And then they could go into some kind of mediation where the Reynolds, Ryan Camp says, yes, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
His net worth is $400 million. I would imagine this is going to be an uncomfortable check to write. And they may not be able to weather this, and I'm not being funny.
And their ego might not let them settle. For real.
Sony stated early on publicly that they had not received any HR complaints for this movie. This is a fact, Larry. And the attorney for Baldoni has said it now 3 times that I am aware of in public, right? There are 3 that I absolutely know of for a fact that he has said in public that no, there are no HR complaints at all. And the longest version of it was probably when he talked to Candace Owens. However, since then, I'm sorry, not Candace Owens. Anyway, the most recent of is the Billy Bush interview, and they talked about it. This was even more updated because Billy Bush said, "Hey, I've seen some HR complaints. Don't know if they're real or not." Right? He was talking specifically about these, and he asked Baldoni's attorney specifically about these. You know what his first question was? And I'm sure he knew the answer before he asked it. But his first question was, what are the dates on those?
Yeah, yeah.
What are the dates on those? And of course, Billy Bush said, I believe the dates were redacted. And he went, geez, that's peculiar. But again, like Larry said, Sony stated early on publicly that they had not received any HR complaints for this movie. But if they did, right, because these HR things that we saw, they're on Sony stationery. It's on all the letterhead is from Sony Studios. So if they're legit, and I don't believe they are, but if they're legit, they are from Sony. And that's a real problem because you didn't sue Sony. But if Sony had handled these complaints, then whose responsibility is it to make a safe set? They're the only ones that have a complaint. They're the only ones that have been made aware of, to the best of our knowledge, according to the Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds camp. The only people that have been made aware of this would be Sony, at least officially. The complaints are with Sony. Why then did you not sue Sony?
Yeah, because there was never a disposition.
Yeah, it's just a really, really, this looks really bad for Team Blake Lively.
Sure does.
And you know what? I'm glad.
No, I have this cool skateboard picture of me from 4 years ago. That was in my 50s.
4 years ago?
Yeah. It's a pop
No.
shove it I did. Yeah. I have it hanging
You're
in my
telling me the truth?
yeah, that's 100%.
Insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
sure am, Shorty.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
I know. I can't
do
right
that
now. My
stuff at
back's
your age,
trash.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I had a whole skateboard factory. Yeah.
That's insane, dude. This
Yeah.
proves the complaints were lies because Blake's complaint said she said her driver pulled the car over and threw Justin out of the car. That's not what Blake says here in the lawsuit. You know what? I have not picked. I didn't pick that up. Blake's complaint said that her driver pulled the car over and threw Justin out of the car. This was in the amended complaint. This is when he was discussing pornography, I believe. Is that correct? This is when he said that he had a problem with porn or whatever. And allegedly, she said, "I'm not comfortable with this conversation," right? And pulled over and said, "Let me out." Maybe it happened. I don't know. It sounds good. I don't buy it either. Cameron Diaz just did an interview and said she finally returned to acting because movie sets are so safe and comfortable now. Her experience now shows there is so much witness to everything for you. You know, I think that Hollywood has been toxic for a really, really long time. And I think it's coming to light now. And this is why when people go, who cares? This is why this one pisses me off worse than any other. Because you're trying to make headway in a world where for as long as there's been Hollywood, you could just say, if you don't blow me, you're not getting this part. Right? I mean, honestly, let's keep it real. This has been going on.
Yeah.
And nobody's right. People like us, the world is coming together and calling for justice and all this. And you got a person out there worth $400 million playing games and claiming that stuff like this happened. They got this poor fool fired from William Morris. Diddy still hasn't been fired from William Morris. Do you know that? For real.
Yeah,
William Morris has not
that.
Officially got rid of Diddy. That man's not a sexual predator, but Baldoni is.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Wow. Hollywood is toxic as hell.
It's because there's no one in his ear saying, get rid of this dude. And that's just more proof that they how much control they have. But I really feel like this is all gonna backfire terribly. There's nothing in this new amendment about
I think it already has.
If anything, the amendment has made it even backfire even more. And they're hit. I mean, that's the final takeaway. Is like I'm not saying we need to stop talking about it. I'm just saying that's the final takeaway from this amendment. At least that's mine.
There's nothing there. The bottom line is not only is there nothing there, but if you listen to somebody else read this, unfortunately, even if you listen to us read it, we're gonna weigh in on it. We're gonna give you our points of view. We're gonna do all of that. I probably will end up doing it later at some point. I'll read the whole thing on the boat or whatever. But it's a waste of time whether you listen to me do it or whether you listen to somebody else do it. Yep. Grab it's 130 pages. If you've already read the First Amendment, it'll only take you about 40 minutes, 30 minutes to read the second one because most of it is just repeating a lot of the original. But the way it's done, you kind of have to pick through it because it's not like here's the old, here's the new. Everything gets sprinkled in kind of together.
What I might do along with the show's opinions and takeaways is create a link in the description today at some time where people can download it. Oh,
I love that. I love that. And what I would really like you to do is read this, right? Aside from us or anybody else, anybody you believe in or trust or whatever, just read the amendment, right? Read the amended lawsuit and tell me if this sounds like it was written by lawyers to you. Because to me, honest to God, I've spent so much
PR,
of my
dude.
life reading legal BS. This is PR. That's perfect.
Yeah, the whole thing is PR. It's not a legal strategy.
It's intended for us. It's not intended for a court.
Too many words and too few facts. The attempt to expose Baldoni's activism completely backfired. Oh, and Lively's claim of financial harm is super weak, bro. Super weak. And the SNL scandal.
Yes.
She's calling it. Go ahead.
The man bun thing, right? He picks on him for having the man bun. And then he goes and films the Deadpool thing. He has a prosthetic nose put on when he plays Nice Pull so that he looks more like Baldoni. And then you hear her say, we need to take a month off. You can laugh, but what she said is, we need an insurance month right now within Hollywood. This is a break that you need because there's medical and the company's going to pay for to give him a nose job. His nose is too big. And she says that you need rhinoplasty. We'll get this taken care of. Just take 1 month. If he had said that to her, you think we would have seen it in a lawsuit?
Yeah. No.
You think her ego would have put up with him saying your nose is too big? Why don't we just take a month off and get it fixed? Well, we heard her say it, right? We heard her. Now he gets a prosthetic nose. He puts on a man bun.
For real.
Yeah. He puts on a man bun.
Mm-hmm.
You know why he had a man bun, Baldoni? He wanted his kids. He did this with his children. He told them he was going to grow his hair out for 4 years so that he could donate it to kids with cancer because they needed the wigs. And they actually have him on film doing it. He's in a barber shop and they're braiding it out to show how many kids they can take it for. And his kid is watching him get his hair cut. Nice choice, Ryan. Really. Do a little research before you let the world know what a douchebag you are. You know what I mean?
He is an effing douchebag.
It's like the quotes. It's like the quotes in the beginning of this. It's, what are you trying to do? You're not trying to sway, right? This isn't a lawsuit. Here's the lawsuit. Give me the facts. What's happening? The facts are this man pretends to be a feminist, and I want to shame him for that. So we're going to lead off with some quotes of what he claims in his books. You're just a douche. And this is, I agree with you. This is backfiring in ways that that you can't even explain. Kristen Melinda, I love you. Kristen Melinda says, $2.99 watching. Friendly reminder, hit the like and subscribe. I mean, you're here anyway. But we're actually at about 420 people.
I noticed that.
Chat.
I noticed that.
If you've never hit subscribe, please do that. We're right at the 1,000 mark. It's a brand new channel. We've both been doing a lot of stuff on YouTube for a long time, but we had met in prison, came together to do the After the Bars show. Literally met in prison. Spent 7 months in the worst hellhole. I kid you not.
In the hole.
You couldn't do worse, man. I've been to a lot of ugly ones, bro. That's about as nasty as it ever could
be. Cockroaches, and we still were able to remain friends
and have a pretty good time
and get to know each other and had a pretty good time. Yeah.
We had a lot of laughs, and I'm not joking.
We went to war, not like the standard war, like a riot on the yard, which we both have done. But like we literally had a riot with cockroaches. Yeah.
And it never stopped. Oh, that first night. So no joke. I was in there a grand total of 14 months, and I had the light turn off once. It was my first night in there, and I'm putting the little thing in the door. You put the sign up that says turn the light off. Of course, Casper would draw, a beautiful sign or whatever. I just would be like, right off, please. So I jam this thing out there, and the cop stops, and he looks at me, and he goes, "You want the light off?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I'm trying to go to sleep." And he goes, "All right, bro." Flip the switch off. I laid down. You remember how short that hall was? He didn't even get the door done. Ah! I'm yelling, "Get back here. What the fuck?" He came back. I was like, "Dude," he goes, "Yeah, I think you're probably going to want to keep the lights on." I'm like, "How do you sleep?" He's like, "Take a sock and tie it around your eyes." And I'm telling you, those sock things, lived and died with that. God help us.
Oh, yeah. I would always wrap my T-shirt around my head and just crash up. I did that for 3 years. Go ahead. Justice for just yes. I wrapped my eyes for 3 years because I couldn't sleep without it. And even if I was in pitch black, it was just a comfort thing.
No, I get it. I absolutely get it. Now, does it make sense, boys
Love
and girls?
that avatar.
Does it make sense why these people, and we can leave and then we can move on to some other crazy stories you're not going to believe, but does it make sense why these people want 2.5 years of everything that went through this guy's phone? They don't have anything, and they already put on the roulette wheel. When they leaked this crap to the New York Times, when they leaked that to the New York Times, they had a feeling that old Justin Baldoni was gonna lay down and take his licks. The last thing in the world they expected was for him to come out and go, "Oh, hold my beer, right here. Let me show you some receipts. I got this. Here's the text messages. Here are the emails. And by the way, I kept the cameras rolling. So you said I said this, and this. Let's see what I really said. God help us, man.
Yep.
So it's there, it's out now. You ready for this one? This ought to really blow your mind, man. John says, just boycott Hollywood and find a good church. I like it. There is not going to be a trial in 2025 that is going to get us any closer to the Tupac Shakur justice. So the case against Keefe D. Yeah, they went in and met, and they have put the case out until at least 2026, which is a pretty long delay. You know,
Did
especially
they adjust his bail?
No, as of right now, his bail is still what it is. I can't believe that no one has bailed out Keefe D. I'm kind of blown away by that. You know what I mean? How about an author? Like that's kind of what I thought. You know what I mean? You know, get somebody with a crap load of money, because we all know that the book that Keefe D wrote. I mean, let's really find out what happened, because I'm not buying the book that Keefe D wrote. But how about this? You wrote a book. The Keefe D thing is just, you wrote a book where you tell everybody you were there when the murder took place, that you're in the car. Casper, do you have to be the person that pulls the trigger if you're in that car?
You absolutely do not.
No, you do not. It's amazing, folks. But everybody in that car is guilty of murder. If you're a bank robber, right? You're a bank robber. You're robbing a bank. You got a getaway driver. The getaway driver drops you off. You go running into the bank, and his raisins shrink up. And he drives away, freaked out, doesn't even stick around. And in the process of that bank robbery, you cap somebody. He's guilty of murder for dropping you off at the bank.
Yeah.
It's all just, if there are two actions taken, you guys conspired, whatever. But being in that car, and he writes a book and admits to it. Then he goes on with DJ Vlad. Right? By the way, you got a better chance of going to prison going on with DJ Vlad than you do going into an FBI interrogation. I'm sorry, bro. Vlad's got priors, man. I kind of got to feel sometimes like he may not be the best in the best interest of you. If you want to stay free, maybe don't do DJ Vlad. But he goes on with Vlad and confesses to this. And in his, I'm sorry, maybe not the brightest bulb, right? Maybe not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But in his head, he's safe because he was given immunity by the federal government. He was given not blanket immunity. He was given immunity for a day. And this is a very confusing thing, but it's worth talking about because this actually comes up a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with the Madeline Soto case where Stephen Stearns. Okay.
I'm a little bit.
Yeah. The mother was given that kind of immunity as well for 1 day. You get 1 day. Anything that you say to us in that day cannot be used against you. That doesn't mean that you can't get convicted of this crime. So let's say you and you're interrogating me and we're talking, and I'm going to tell you everything. And I say, the murder weapon, I buried it. It's in front of my house. It's 4 feet from the front door. They cannot go get that gun. They cannot use that gun against me unless they find that gun some other way. So somebody goes into the police department a few weeks later and says, hey, I got a DWI, and when I got pulled over, they found 2 ounces of tar on me, and I don't want to get convicted with that. So I got a deal for you. If you go 4 feet from Tommy Scoville's front door and start digging, you're going to find a pew-pew. It's 9mm. I don't know why you buried it, but I was there. Can we cut a deal? They say, sure. Now they go dig that piece up. They can charge me with that gun. They can charge me with whatever I did with that. They didn't use my words against me. So this nozzle goes in there and tells him everything that happened, right?
Yeah.
They can't use what he said against him in there. Now, if you go do an interview with DJ Vlad, they're not taking anything from the interview you did. They're taking it from what you just did with DJ Vlad. Now, maybe you said the same thing, but all you were protected from is what you said to them in the office, not what you said to Vlad. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
But that limited scope immunity thing, that's a mother, man. That really is. That's a dangerous game. And that fool thought like he just saw too much Law and Order or something. He heard immunity and he's like, I'm going to write me a book. I'm going to go on there with DJ Vlad, maybe sell some T-shirts. You know, I was there when they, when they shot Tupac. I mean,
Yeah.
not the brightest
It's
bulb,
all
man.
snitching, man. Yeah. Bruce Rivers. You got to listen to Bruce Rivers at all times. Stop self snitching.
Don't snitch on yourself, man.
Unless it's
Did
eating
you
away
happen-
at you and you know, and then, you know, you just feel convicted to do it. If God puts it on your heart to telling yourself, then do it. But
that happens. That does happen.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I watch interrogation. That the only thing I watch for entertainment. Like if I'm laid up and I'm not working on this kind of stuff, if I'm watching something for entertainment, I watch interrogations. And this guy walks into a police station, just walks into a police station. And it's the craziest thing because he's trying to convince these people that he's like, look, man, he's like, I killed this dude. I did it a long time ago. He's like, it's been eating on me. It's driving. I can't sleep. Right. This has been years. And he's like, and I want to tell him, they won't believe him. They will not. And finally, he gets a couple of cops where the guy's like, all right, look, man, I'll come out, you know, go show me where this is. And he goes out to a house and the guy's like, that little outbuilding right there. And sure as hell, they go and find the guy's like, I just found a foot. But he just, he was just, you know, sometimes that happens. People start to, their conscience gets the better of them.
I had some warrants one time and I went to turn myself in, literally flagged a cop down. He's like, man, the jails are full, man. Just, you know, get a hold of your PO or something, you know, do something. And I was like, man, I'm telling you, this is more than a jails are full warrant.
Right.
And he's like, all right, man. And so he ran my name and he's like, yeah, get up,
on
put
in.
your car. Yeah. And, when I told the judge that, the judge was just like, yeah, it's all in his report, man. He said that you really had to convince him to take you to jail. And I was like, yeah, I was done. I needed to go, you know, I wanted to get this put behind me and move forward with my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did,
did you ever rabbit? Did you ever do the rabbit thing? Or were you ever a rabbit? Were you a guy that ran? Did you
like when I got pulled over and take off? I did it one time when I was a kid and I wasn't even a criminal at the time, but I'd had a few beers and I took off and I ended up getting this little, I mean, it was the shortest lived high speed chase in LA that you'd ever seen. I made like 3 turns and I hit a corner. It was in an old Camaro, a 73 Camaro. Oh. And it might not have been a 73 because I'm thinking of my Spitfire, but it was an old gold Camaro. You remember when they were like gold but it was the old,
it was a big V8.
Yeah.
With an ass that likes to slide all over the place.
I hit the corner and the cop smashed right into me, man. Smashed right into me and I got out and he was upset. It was LAPD. He was upset, you know, and this is like the late 80s. And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd had a few beers and didn't get a DUI because I wasn't drunk, but I got for running from the cop.
There are 2 kinds of criminals. Like you run into them, you'll meet guys inside. And when I was at the SMU in Lewisburg, we would move this way every 21 days.
Yeah.
And then move you across the hall, whatever. So the guy next to me was the guy next to me for basically 14 months. Right. We were always in the same vent together. And he was a black guy. He was probably 10, 15 years younger than me, but nice kid. And I'd shoot him coffee. He never had cash. So I'd hook him up with coffee. Sometimes I'd even buy him a whole bag of it. He was a nice kid. And one day he was like, he goes, Rock, man, I know this is disrespectful as shit, especially because you're white or whatever. He's like, what are you in here for, man? And I told him my kind of my criminal history. I said, what are you in here for? And I've told the story on the boat, but he got pulled over and he had done a B&E the night before. So in the trunk of the car, he's got what he wore, which is like a coveralls thing. And he had burglary tools, right? He had everything you needed. So he gets pulled over. The cop comes out of the car, walks up, gets his ID, got his name, right? He's already got the ID. And the cop comes back and says, I want you to step out of the car. We'd like to take a look in your automobile. Is there anything in your car I should know about? You know the drill. Anything I'm just going to, stick me, poke me, shoot me? Got anything in the car I need to know about? And he goes, no, I ain't got anything in there. Good. Would you mind if I take a look at it? Whoa! He lights him up. Yeah. He takes off. He turns that traffic stop into 67 years.
Yeah.
67 years, man. He ended up carjacking a guy. He ends up kidnapping a pizza delivery dude. Like all of this just insane stuff. They got him pulled over after like 2 high-speed chases, got him into the police car. He gets the cuffs to the front, gets through that little window thing, and drives off in a cop car with his hands cuffed. all
Wow.
bad. But he's a rabbit. And he said to me, he's like, my entire career, he's like, I get so freaked out. He's like, I don't want to go to jail. I'm like, yeah, I don't either, bro. But I sit down and go like this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, get me to jail. Just find out who's
Yeah.
holding her. But
You're
yeah,
absolutely right. There's two kinds.
never, bro. I was never
Yeah.
a runner. I put my
Me
hands in the
either.
I was always afraid some gung-ho cop wants to shoot me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I know I'll be that dude if I run. I can't say I never ran because I've run a couple of times in cars, but it was always because I was like I had just gotten a Porsche. It was the first time I had ever had one. And
Mhm.
I was going over a bridge and I was going so freaking fast. And instead of just getting to the other side of the bridge and turning around, he lit me up when he was on the other side. And then
Yeah.
he can't turn. He's got to go to the other side of the bridge. And I'm like, there's no way this dude catches me. Like he ain't got a prayer, that, you know? So that was the only reason I did that. And I called Johnny on the phone and I was like, open your garage. Pulled into his garage. My brother's a gangster. Like he wasn't even waiting, to find out why. As I'm pulling in the garage, he's shutting the garage door. It was perfect. I just had to leave my car there for a couple of weeks because of that paper.
Yeah.
I waited until I got my permanent plate to take the car back out. But no, I never was a runner. But
me either.
So the Keefe D thing, this is we're going to be looking at 2026. Here's what I will tell you. The good news for all of you court buffs, we're going to be televised, obviously. That's a California court. California does not have a problem with cameras in the courtroom. We're going to be able to see all of that. And that's going to be interesting. There's a part of me that wonders if this doesn't have something to do with Diddy. And I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
You push it out long enough and the Diddy case is absolutely going to be over before this, he's going to be a part of this. There's no way he's not going to be a part of this. Keefe D has said that he received a check for $1 million or was supposed to receive a check for $1 million. The check ended up getting stolen. Imagine your hit money getting stolen from somebody that opens a nightclub with him. I'd be salty.
Yeah, it's pretty. And I mean, you can't get the check rewritten. I mean, I don't, or did he? I don't know.
No, absolutely
no pun
not.
intended. No pun intended.
No, that guy stole, allegedly, the guy took $100 million and walked with it. They killed Pac and they did it without being paid. However, my opinion is they weren't going there to kill Pac in the first place. They were going there to kill Suge Knight. That's what they were going to do. But because Diddy had said to them in the past, you guys hit him, there's $1 million in it for you. They tried to get Suge. They didn't get Suge, but they killed Pac. And then they pushed up on Diddy because, damn it, Pac's dead. They may as well get paid. That's how I think it went down. That's my personal opinion. But what do I know? So
it all could have depended on a lane change. You know what I mean? If they can't get next to the car on the right side, we can't get it. So we'll just try to get them from the left side.
Had somebody pull in front to make sure they couldn't go. You don't hear that in every one of the stories. But in one of the interviews that's given, they admit that there was a car that pulled in front of it. And I think it's odd that there's a lot of stuff that's dicey as shit in that case. And as we get closer, I'm going to do an entire week on that case. And you know what's crazy?
Awesome.
It's crazy. You know where I'm learning everything about that case? Johnny Scoville.
Really?
My brother got, I don't know whether, when it started, but my brother has watched and researched just about everything he could. And he was not a Pac dude. I think it was just the unsolved part of it is kind of fascinating because we don't, this is a weird statistic, but what percentage of murders do you think go unsolved?
I have no clue.
It'd freak you out. They say 6 out of 10 people who commit murders are never caught. Now you start looking at that I picked the wrong line of work. Like bank robbery, everybody gets caught. How was they doing this bank robbery? Even whacking.
Yeah.
Trouble is, I don't think I could do it. I kind of got a thing for people. I like them.
Yeah, I can't do it. I mean, unless I was, this is to protect my family or myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I just got the call that the power's out at the office, so I guess I don't have to commute today.
Yay!
But as we get closer to this, it's something I'm definitely going to want to deep dive into. I think it's a fascinating case, and I think it's emblematic of Hollywood, right? This is a perfect example of the incompetence and the fact that if you got cash, that entire entertainment industry is protected in ways that, this kind of stuff just would never happen to a normal person. P. Diddy hit someone in the head with a champagne bottle and got 1 day of domestic violence. 1 day of anger management classes for it.
Yeah.
I hit you in the head with a champagne bottle. I'm getting 6 years, piss minimum. I'm doing 6 years in prison.
Yep. Absolutely.
Honestly, with my record, I'd get life, and I would. Because I'm not in a position. I don't have another felony left to give. The judge was pretty clear about that.
Yeah. Well, God saved us just in time, brother. You know what I mean? That wasn't his plan for us, and it just shows with everything that we get blessed with and everything we have to be grateful for. 1,000,000%.
Now I got a crazy story, and I'm only telling very little of this because it's sort of
on that note.
Story.
On that note, yeah.
Yep. Casper knows the entire story. He's not going to be sharing it either. But fascinating things have been happening, and believe it or not, folks, this is a shout out to all of those people that have loved me for so long. In the early days of the Lifeboat, there was a lot of debate concerning my tact about and my approach to sobriety, because we believe that it's a disease, that addiction is a disease. It's like saying I believe that there's oxygen at this point. However, when we started believing it, it was more of a theory. Now it is basically established science. But we had a group of people reach out to the Lifeboat because they wanted to purchase everything that the Lifeboat has done on sobriety, and the entire purchase the music catalog of the Lifeboat, so to speak. And it is an incredible, I don't know what you want to call it. It's an honor, or it's a compliment, but it validates the malfunctioning reward center of the brain, and the all of the stuff that we kind of drill home about addiction. Stuff that isn't in the old model necessarily, but more sort of the how people look at addiction today versus how they looked at it 20 or 30 years ago. But it was super exciting to hear, people out there that said, no, the model that you're using is what we're interested in. I love that it's starting to change. Did prison reform you, or was it a revelation, or AA, or what? So my story, Laura, just real briefly, is I met somebody that realized I needed a lot of help and was willing to allow me to work with him. He was black, I was white, and in prison that's a really odd thing. But he helped me get sober. He helped me look at it in a very different way. Here's the really good news. The really good news is this. Yeah, excellent. The good news is this, people. If I decide to sell the entire catalog, it will not change anything for anybody here. You will never know I did it. My first thing obviously was I wouldn't take this down for any amount of money on planet Earth. I'm not giving you anything. That's just absolutely crazy. And their response was, "Oh no, we don't want you to take it down. No, you can keep that, monetize it, do whatever you do with it. That will never change." And that's about all I can say. There's AI stuff involved in it, and I can't say a whole hell of a lot more than that. But we're in the process of talking about the how this would work out. And the only thing that would change, I promise you, the only thing that would change is we would have an opportunity to do a hell of a lot more to help people. I mean, a hell of a lot more, without having to max out credit cards or do anything silly. We'd have the only reason that I would ever do this, the only reason that I would ever allow this to happen is if it created the ability to get more people sober. That's it. And it sure as shit looks like it could really help a lot of people get sober. So it is something that I'm working on. And you know what? This has been years in the making. It really has. It's funny that hindsight being 2020, but I got about 3,000 hours of sobriety stuff on the Lifeboat. So there's a huge catalog out there. And when I was doing that with 15 people watching or with 30 people watching, it was, if you go back and watch those, so some of the best shows I ever did, they really are. And it's, I don't know, it's just cool that all of that is is going to have a chance to live on in a lot of other places. It's nice to think that all of the stuff that we've done will help people get sober more so now, even if I'm gone. It's a pretty exciting thing. But it will never it'll never change anything in terms of how I do the boat. That's the absolute best part of it. Because my first response was, "Are you kidding me? Beat it! I wouldn't sell you. Like you bumped your head." And they were like, "No, I'm not exactly sure you understand our kind of buy. You don't have to take anything down. You don't have to do any of these things." By the way, before anybody gets nervous, this is a company that I've been researching for a really long time. This is not a fly-by-night deal. They've got they have an excellent reputation, and pretty excited. We're going to see what happens. I'll keep everybody in the loop, but I will, and I've said this right from the beginning. In fact, if you go back and watch the very early days of the Lifeboat, I said, make no mistake, I will sell out the absolute first chance I get if it means that it's going to get two more people sober. That whole selling out thing that people freak out about. Why do you think we do this? Right?
Yeah.
We definitely want to help people, but I assure you, we do this because it makes money. And if that money helps more people get sober, then I will sell out. And I said that from the beginning. I said, I will call this call this the Huggies Lifeboat. If Huggies wants to put up the cash, there's not much I wouldn't, we'll make sure that it helps. But yeah, it's just a very cool thing. It really is. And I had to, I did say that, didn't I? But I thought I would bring that up because this is really, really exciting to me. And it kind of validates the work that we've all done. And I say we all because everybody has been involved in this. It's really is that kind of show. It's just like here, same thing. A lot of the same people.
It's first of all, I'm glad I just went out there and made a sandwich because I left a window open and it's like 25 below zero right now, 35 with the wind chill.
Oh, I thought you meant a window on your computer. You left a window to the outside open?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I opened
the
it
outdoors.
But it was freezing out in the living room and kitchen right now. So I'm glad I went over there. I was mistaken when you first told me about that this morning. I thought it was AI buying your voice. And so they were using all those hours of your voice to duplicate it. So my bad. I mistake.
For all intents and purposes, that's exactly what they're doing. What they want to do is, if you think about it this way, there's going to be a virtual version, and it won't be me. It's not going to be, hey, here's Tommy Scoville, but it's going to be, they would like this to have the ability to answer questions from people, right? So if there was somebody hurting, as opposed to just being able to watch what I do, you would be able to actually ask questions of a virtual
and it would answer but not just your voice, but the model.
No, the model.
Wow.
Yeah, the model. The voice it won't be my voice. It will be but it will be my thoughts and all I did. I've never had, and I've never claimed to. I've never had an original thought about sobriety. I reframe everybody's. I was reading sobriety books when I was in there with you. I just read every single thing I could get my freaking hands on, and it's an amalgamation of all of that. But they dig it, so that's a really cool thing, and it'll definitely get us a much nicer tour bus. You know what I mean? And I'm not buying any watches, just a tour bus, and a lot of people that it's going to be able to let a lot of people get into medical assisted treatment. We were blessed about a year and a half ago where. Through the generosity of people on the boat, we literally were able to take an entire group of kids, young adults, and put the entire crew, anybody in there that wanted to go on Suboxone, we were able to pay for, which was one of the coolest things in the whole world. I went in there and, we had permission. I went and did a talk on Suboxone, what it does, all of that. And, they needed signatures from parents because all of these people were still in that age group, right? All right under the 18 mark, last chance before going to prison kind of thing. And we were able to hook up about 30 of them, which was pretty freaking incredible. But it would be great if we could do that whenever we wanted. It's a pretty cool thing, man. I'm pretty excited.
Congratulations. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty fired up about it. And normally I would not. Normally I wouldn't even mention it. It's just that there are people out there that care about me so deeply that have been following me for years, and I just want them all to know that if it wasn't for you and your support and all of that, then this probably wouldn't have been happening.
Yeah.
So love you all, even you haters. Thank you for all you've done.
Yeah, I love
you.
everybody too.
It's funny. There is one more watch I'd really like, but we're gonna see. I probably will pick up one watch, but
yeah,
maybe just one. Maybe just one.
Let me just correct that last statement.
Yeah, maybe just one. Just one vintage piece I've had my eyes on. But this is exciting because you guys are usually not privy to the conversations that we have off air, but there's a lot of stuff that we're doing. We're really working to bring the family, right, of channels into the next level, so to speak. A lot of really exciting stuff going on. As there couldn't be a better time to be a content creator doing what we do. It's plain and simple, right? There's this is a genre that is becoming so popular, and it's interesting to have it's interesting to have a couple of guys that that come out of prison and talk about stuff. I think it's a unique. What we bring to true crime, I think, is unique, and it's fun. I'm having a wicked good time.
Me too, brother. Me too. And man, I wanted to do this for so long, for like the last year, and I hired this producer for a little bit. I mean, it lasted 1 month. I found out she was a grifter, and yeah. She only got me for $75, so it wasn't too bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, and but she was trying to hook me up with this dude. Huh?
I said I'm marrying my grifter.
That's right. And she tried hooking me up with this guy K-Far to do a true crime show, to where we do like actual true crime stories, and I was like, all right, and I talked to the dude, and he just rubbed me the wrong way, super like a military guy. I mean, he was in the military, but just a super like
structure.
I don't know. Yeah, well, not really that. It was just I shouldn't have said the military part had nothing to do with it. But he was all about military. But there was a lot of people saying that he was never in the military. But I believe he was, but maybe not. I don't think he did the things he did. Like standoffs and in Kabul or wherever. But I don't know. I just didn't want to be connected with him. I felt like it was damaging the stuff that I was going to do. And so it never panned out. And then lo and behold, you came across my algorithm. I'm like, hey man, I used to be your roommate.
You're so no lie. I've had 50 people. I'm not exaggerating even slightly, who have reached out or have said in chats, you and I did time together. And every time it's so easy. I'll go, yeah, where'd we do time? You know what I mean? And they'll be like, you were at School Kill. I'm like, no, I was never at School Kill. Where they'll say you were at this one, and I'll be like, no, I was never at this one.
Yeah.
But when you said, when you were like Casper, I was like, holy crap, I know a lot of Caspers, bro. You got to do better than that. And you were like Black Canyon. It's like, oh no, were you in the shoe? This is I put this up because this is an absolutely astounding observation. This is it in a nutshell. Blake and Ryan are basically shopping around for gold diggers who will say anything for a price. Let's see how that works out. This is it, right?
Yeah.
You saw the other male co-star. He got, I think it was Hoda, right, that he was on with, I think, one of the morning shows. And they said to him, are you team Lively and they were being funny, right? They were being tongue in cheek, but this dude had already said, I'm team Lively. And when they asked the second time, he was like, I'm team, and he said the name of the movie, right? It Ends With Us. I'm team, It Ends With Us. Or team Taylor. Taylor Swift, I don't know if you've heard all that, but Taylor Swift apparently is bent. Like everything that happened in this, Taylor might be one of the biggest victims in all of this. She was dumb enough to be friends with this woman, and she just cannot believe what this chick has done to her. Like that's really kind of the situation. I love that. I would love to see her come out with a statement, right? Be a stand-up cat. Come out with a statement and go, you know what, man? I didn't cast anybody in that movie. And when they brought me over there, to say that I was a dragon, I didn't know that was coming. They're lowlives. Whew, I would buy an album.
I wouldn't put the farm on it, but I would put half the farm on that. That is going to happen because when she she's distanced herself from the whole thing pretty fast. Yeah. I know. I think it's so cool that there was so many people that remember that when I came into the chat that day. And look, I'd been trying to get a hold of you for like 5 days before that, and I basically had given up. And then I was recording some court videos, and it said you were live, and I was like, I'll just shoot a message at him, and that's what I did. But I gave up because to become part of your Facebook thing is almost impossible, or not Facebook, but Discord. Yeah, it was. I had to take a test. Yeah, I had to take a test, and I couldn't get the link to the test, and I was like, man, why do I have to take a test?
I don't run my Discord. I don't have anything to do. I don't understand any of it. Laura, my sobriety date is also in June. I will be doing 10 years heroin free this June. Congratulations on 5 years. That is epic.
I can't find my goat.
You lost your goat?
Paisley plays with my goat, so she's probably in her room, which is okay. I'll just do a live goat.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, that really is. It's epic. I mean, people, if you've never been addicted to anything, right? You hear people say, I got 5 years of sobriety in June. And you hear, well, 5 years, they haven't gotten high or whatever.
Oh, shit.
If you had any idea how many times over the course of that 5 years that Laura May had one of those moments where it just would have been easier to say, you know what, today's the day I'm just going to get wasted and not deal with this. How many times somebody pushed your buttons, how many times you had to journal, or how many times you had to take a walk, or how many times you had to. 5 years is 1,000 battles won, or 2,000 battles won. But every one of those, it's like another layer, right? You just get a little bit tougher, a little bit harder. When my dad passed away, I was, I think I was 4 or 5 years sober at the time. And I honestly could not believe I got through it. Like, that was one of those things and I was in a halfway house. It was a situation. I was fortunately, there was one guy there, really solid dude there. He comes on the boat every now and then, just a good dude, white guy named Bubba, and a white guy who the very first day I was there, right? Cause I'm like, I'm not going to make friends. I'm not doing this. It's not going to be like prison. I'm just going there. I'm going to go to work. I just want to get out. I don't want to get caught up in shit. And the first thing I saw, I walk in, there's a guy doing a line. I'm like, oh God, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to get out of this. But yeah, I was getting there right at the time of year I was getting there was Thanksgiving. And I was like, hey, what are they doing for Thanksgiving? And he goes, burritos. I'm like, we're having effing burritos for Thanksgiving. Like, that can't be real. Like, they got to do something for Thanksgiving, right? And they're like, no, man, they're giving frozen burritos for Thanksgiving. And this dude, Bubba, this white dude, put on Thanksgiving for probably 50 people. Like, no joke. He was doing it all through DoorDash because it was still during the face mask stuff. And he's having whole turkeys delivered, right? And he's like, so we're all down there just starting to dig in. And he looks around. And he's like, this ain't just for white people. You know what I mean? He's like, we ain't in prison. Come on, man. Yeah, he's like, what are you guys doing? He's like, we ain't in prison. Come on. And it was so cool because it was black guys, white guys, Mexican dudes, everyone just sitting down and no one giving a shit. But it was funny because you got the hangover from prison. He's looking around. And he's like, do you see all these turkeys, bro? He's like, come on, there's 13 white guys here. Dig in.
Yeah.
But he helped me through that, but it was every time you get through one of those things. That's why journaling is so important, man. Right?
Well,
you write down your victories and they get etched and you start to remember that I got through that last one. I can get through this,
I just know that the struggle, you have to be vigilant though. You can't let your guard down. just even here at Christmas, I went and parked my truck in front of a casino bar for about 2 hours. Marianne and I got into it, and I just like, okay, I got to get out of here. And she texted me, she's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to this bar. I'm going to get drunk and I'm going to get a room for the night. And when I left, that was my plan. And I got in front of the place. I sat in my truck and I prayed and I prayed. And please God, don't let me go in here. Don't let me go in here. And he didn't. It just like, I just felt, convicted about the whole thing. And I came back, kissed my wife, said I was sorry, even though I didn't feel like I was wrong in it. But you know what? None of that matters. I would have lost it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would have lost it all.
There you go, Cal.
I will never see my daughter through glass ever.
God, let's your lips to God's ears. I'm a few minutes behind. I just got to the part about KFAR. Wild.
Yeah.
Collide. At KFAR is a Navy vet, doesn't have much of a spine. Long story. Glad you didn't bite.
Yeah. Cool.
KTZ or Mandy. She's got a few.
The producer I hired was Mandy. Yeah.
Oh, Mandy.
Yeah. Yep. And I was just getting ready to send her another $100. It was crazy because I had gotten like 300 subscribers in like 2 weeks, but I was getting about 1,000 subscribers a month. And she's like, oh, look, did you see, because of the work I'm doing, all your new subscribers, like, you haven't done anything. All you did was block a bunch of people. People that you didn't want me to hear from. That's right. All she did. I gave her permissions to come in and fool around. All she did was block a bunch of people that were going to tell me that she was a grifter. So yeah, it was pretty funny.
We're going to have to call her a thief. There is only one grifter. There is only one grifter. Not to change the subject, but if you heard the reports coming out about all the fraud coming out of Social Security, millions of people, 150 years old and more, getting checks. A lot of them don't live in the United States. They're saying that an estimated 1/8 of our entire national debt has been shipped out in fraud to other countries. That's trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars.
Yep.
And the crazy
there's hundreds of thousands of people that are like 150 years old, 200 years old, still getting checks.
Correct. Now, and I know one of the guys who's guilty of it, right? The guy used to buy stock from me when I was a broker, and he calls me one day, and he's like, one of the stocks I put him in tanked. I mean, go freaking figure, right? I'm a stockbroker. Yeah. My job is to sell stock. I don't make them go up or down. I just sell stock. So I sell this guy a fat block, and maybe I was cheating a little. Like sometimes we pumped and dumped him or whatever, but this wasn't even one of those. And he calls me and he starts bitching and he says to me, man, I lost 10 grand already. I go, did you sell? Because if you didn't sell the stock, you ain't lost shit, right? If the stock goes up tomorrow, you're going to make money. You didn't lose anything. And he goes, and that's my mother's money. And I'm like, your mom, didn't you tell me your mom's dead? What you mean, her inheritance money? Turns out this dude's still getting checks on his mother being dead. He's still carrying around credit cards of his mom. This is done so much. It's incredible. This is such a prevalent thing throughout the U.S. Back to the halfway house briefly. I was there during COVID. There's a black dude I was in there with. He was in my dorm or whatever you want to call it. And he says to me, hey, man, you want to do a quick business deal? He's like, I'll give you $20,000. And I'm like, run that by me again. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, 2 dudes in here have already done it. You can talk to them. And I go over, first dude I walked up, I'm like, dude gave you $20K. And he goes, he gave me $15K. And I'm like, he gave you $15,000. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They were filing fraudulent businesses that were claiming that they had been paid, that employees needed to be paid throughout the COVID thing. And getting checks. This guy he was popping them for 40 grand, 45 grand, keeping half of it, but he's putting it in other people's names. I'm like, so you want my name on this? He's like, yeah. And I'll give you 20 grand. I'm like, I'm good. Thanks anyway. Like, you're going back to prison, bro. But the truth of the matter is, I doubt any of them got busted because they don't look at any of this, right? My ex stole my identity. They know. I didn't press charges. I didn't do any of that, but I had to cover my ass. So I went in there and just said that this ain't me, right? I don't live at that address. I've been in prison these last years. They're like, who lives at that address? I'm like, you can do the math. It ain't that freaking hard to find out. I'm not helping you with your investigation.
Yeah, there's all that fraud and all that pork and everything, and they just put a pause on our tax return over $2,000. That's completely legit.
Also, there is about half of the country that is really pissed off that Elon Musk and his Doge crew are doing this. That somehow this is taking, this is making this country a bad place or a less safe place or whatever. I'm salty about the idea that an eighth of our debt was shipped to other countries. That means no shit that there are people living in, I mean, the lap of luxury. You know the number of people out there who are filthy rich because they ripped us off? And I'm busting my freaking ass out here trying to make a living. I'm a little salty about it, man. She played young Lily, not Blake. Thank you, Amanda. I apologize. I stand corrected. She played young Lily, not Blake.
Yeah, I knew that, but I thought I was wrong because you had said it, and I defer to you with that stuff.
Well, I'm not. I make.
No, I know you're not infallible. I know that. That's not what I meant. But I just meant like, must have been Blake.
No, I missed that. And now I got to really go back because what's weird is they made a big point of talking about. You know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'll just go back and look at it. But thank you. I need anytime you get those.
Please correct us.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane Aldrich, and thank you for all you do for all of the channels. You guys are fantastic, and I don't spend a lot of time talking about it because I think, and I don't want to say that I take it for granted because I don't, but for the first couple of years, I was always so shocked by the audience that we had, but I'm certainly more used to it. It used to just shock me on the daily basis how much, and I'm going to sound like I'm just pandering to the audience, but this is a smarter audience. It really is. It's a much sharper audience. It's people that take time. It's people that read. It's people that research stuff, and it's a lot of fun doing this kind of work when the people that you're talking to are an educated audience. It's way more fun. It really is. And I'm not busting on anybody, but I go on other channels and the questions are just a lot different. It's great when your audience is thinking about the same things you're thinking about. Can't always chime in, but I have to say this. Snake Lively had a nose job. She did. There's a doctor, son of a bitch. I wish I could remember his name. I promise you, I will either put it in the Dropbox. I'll get it to Casper. We'll talk about it the next time. But this is what he does. He has a channel, and he talks about this person and if they had plastic surgery or not, and if they did what they had done. He's just a plastic surgeon, and he's great. But he said Blake Lively definitely had her beak done. She had her, and you know what, man? I don't know. I'm probably the wrong guy to ask because I got a nose the size of Milwaukee, but I can't see going in for the old rhinoplasty. I don't care enough about how I look, I guess. It just doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and I might have heard Reese once or twice say that you're definitely not changing your nose.
No, she's fond of it. Yeah. She
chicks are weird, man.
They are.
Yeah, chicks
they
are weird.
Absolutely are. They absolutely are. She, in fact, all of the things that I really despise about myself are usually the things that Reese tends to like the most. So, works out.
Yeah, and as a father of 4 girls and who was raised by his mom and grandmother, I can say chicks are weird.
There's no question. You can also say, look, just being the guy on these channels. I don't know if this has occurred to most of you, but do you know that true crime is, I wouldn't say completely female, but the audience in true crime tends to run about 80% women and 20% men. My theory on this has always been that the other 60%, right, who are really into it are incarcerated. Right? The guys that are really into true crime are actually out doing it. So they're not watching a lot of it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's funny.
It really is, but it's an audience that is skewed big time toward the female audience, and I don't know, I dig that. I love playing to an audience that's engaged, and I'm not being sexist. I promise you, I'm not. But women engage differently than men do, and I am a public speaker, a professional public speaker. I always have been. Women engage differently than men do. If you go out to work as a public speaker, there will be in every audience, especially if you're doing something like BizOp, there'll be at least 10 to 12 people in there who are like this when you start. They're pissed. They don't want to be there. Everything you say, they're going to trash. They're already I usually pick on a couple of them right off the bat. I'll be like, check out this dude. Get the guy with the camera to show him up on the screen. Look at him.
Yeah.
If I said to him, I got you a bag of $100 bills, he'd complain about the weight of them. It's $2 million is like 60 pounds. I got to carry this shit home. But but it's never a woman. It was always a man. Always. Women are just engaged. Even if they think I'm there to rip them off, they want to know how I'm going to rip them off. Right? They want to hear the whole pitch and all that. Guys are just very different.
Yeah, it's funny.
Have you ever watched the Gabby Petito documentary? Do you know who she is?
Yeah, I watched it for the second time last night, actually. I did.
Try to do your homework before you come here so you can answer your questions. And did you really watch Gabby Petito last night?
I did for the second time. Yeah. Yeah. I'd already watched it before and then and seen another thing on her. And then I watched it again last night when I came home. The girls were just starting it. My wife, her friend, and Hazley, they were just starting it. And I was like, ooh, I know a lot about this. And yeah.
Kristen Melinda, that is funny as hell. Women appreciate a man who can make a plan and follow through with it. That's why they're fascinated by serial killers. Oh God, I wish my woman was watching this. I really wish Quibbs saw that. She loves.
Yeah.
She's got a thing about serial killers, man.
Oh wow.
Really. So Sharona wants to know, what do you think of his parents? You mean?
Oh man, the mom wrote that letter or whatever she tried to burn or told him to burn, and it didn't get burned, or it was halfway burned. That I would help you bury a body, and I would whatever. Yeah, but he took his life. He took his own life. So
who took his own life?
The guy did. The boyfriend.
I did not know that. You're talking. So this is new to me. So Gabby Petito, the guy that her old boyfriend
was traveling with,
house,
the guy who took her life, allegedly. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I did.
Yeah. He made it up to Canada, I think, and yeah, I think he made it up to Canada.
Man.
Yeah, but yeah, he took his own life. So yeah, the parents are, I mean, completely, I guess, culpable at the very least.
So Gabby Petito, was she? I may be confusing this. This is the chick that fake kidnapped herself.
No. You're thinking about someone else. Gabby Petito was the one. She started the YouTube channel. Her and her boyfriend, they were living in a van. It was called Van Life.
Oh, yeah. No, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, totally screwed up the name. Who was the chick that faked her own kidnapping?
Oh, that was and I've seen all those too. I can't remember her name. And they thought she was doing Gone Girl Gone or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Jeremy. This is the guy that walked into the Everglades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Terrible story, man. Terrible story. You guys.
Oh yeah, I'm mixing up something else with Canada. I just watched the thing the night before last where the guy went to the Canadian border and just walked across, but then ended up taking his life on the other side. He escaped, made it all the way to Canada. Oh, it was the guy that was he was on all those reality shows and did yeah, he was on a bunch of reality shows and he married a Playboy bunny. Sherry Papini.
Yeah,
Sherry Papini, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
You're a stud. Thank you. That's exactly
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Papini versus yeah. There you go. Petito versus Papini. It's too confusing. So I've got on yes, Sherry Papini faked the thank you. On the lifeboat, the next big story that we're going to be going at hard is going to be the Stephen Stearns case. There are going to be two separate trials in that. One is going to be for the possession of child sexual material, right? CP, a bunch of it. He had a hard drive that he had disassembled, taken out of a computer, and hid in his father's storage lot. He did this, by the way, after he had killed the girl. He stashed her body, and then he had to know what was coming because he went and tried to get rid of the hard drive. They found the hard drive. It had 35,000 images on it, and of CP. And I want to tell you something. The sickness of those people. I mean, I just look at my own sexual proclivities. I couldn't look at 35,000 images of naked chicks. Seriously, I'd be 25 in going, yeah, all right. You know, I mean, it's just, and I
they're
don't know,
sick, dude.
yeah, there's something so effing wrong, man, for real. But that's one that I am, and this is why, by the way, that I'm doing this case. The reason that I'm going to cover this one is because Jennifer Soto, the mother of the child, I'm going to make the case for why this woman needs to spend the rest of her life in prison. I think that she was 100% complicit in this, and she got 1 day of immunity. But that's one of the ones I'm going to be doing on the boat. But you need to let us over here know if there's things that you want us to. There's a lot of really interesting cases that are going to be coming up. You need to let us know, because this is a show that we could be streaming court stuff on. Should be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, I've been looking for something to stream for us to highlight, but there hasn't been too much going on right now. There's been some endings of a couple of things, and if any good sentencings happen, I will definitely showcase those. I do want all of us to say a prayer for up here in my neck of the woods. I mean, it's really local to me. A woman just took her life and took her kid's life. 4 of her kids, it might be 6. She was suffering from mental health issues. I was going to do a whole show on it, but it's too much to do. It's just a really sad case, and that both dads lost all their kids. There was 2 fathers, and they lost their kids. And the last little girl just died 2 days ago. She been in critical condition, and it's just really sad. So, you know, if prayers for sure need to be with those 2 dads to deal with all this. It's a lot. I mean, if you guys want to see it, I have a story ready to go on it. I just decided not to do it. So
yeah, that's terrible.
It's too sad. Yeah,
everyone is doing Karen Reed and Brian Koberger. True, those are 2. Everyone probably is aware of the first Karen Reed did there. So they're retrying Karen Reed, right? The first jury wasn't able to
right
to an agreement. So, but it's going to be
interviews with her. But
what's your gut on Karen Reed?
I think she's completely innocent.
Yeah. It's such a strange case. I'm blown away by that first interview. The bar said she had 9 cocktails, right? That's a drink, man. That's a freaking
unless she is blacked out. Yeah, then it's, you know, and then because I'm just going on my gut feeling of when she speaks and the eye contact she makes with people and the camera and I know there's people that can do that, but it's. I mean, if she was blacked out, then she truly believes she didn't do it, right. You know. But
I think that there's a chance of that, right? I mean, we don't know all we know is, and because the bars keep the, a really tight rein on this stuff, we know what she was, able to consume and get behind the wheel of the car and successfully drive home. Now, I have driven home and not remembered driving home the following day. That is something that has absolutely happened to me in my life. But the interesting is good.
Yeah, I woke up one time in my living room with all my furniture pushed up against the wall and like 40 surfboards all in my living room, and I don't remember doing any of it. And basically what I did, I've been drinking. I started drinking at this place called the Red Onion. It's in Redondo Beach. Started drinking there, and I must have pulled my 4-wheel drive truck up to everyone's balcony that lived on the coast and stole surfboards because I had them all.
Oh man! So they weren't your boards.
Yeah, and Hermosa Beach. Yeah, and I don't remember any of it. And I had no clothes on when I woke up, surrounded by all these surfboards. Yeah, don't remember. Awesome. I swear to God, I vaguely remember standing on my truck, looking up at a surfboard, but that's like the only memory I have of the entire event. So I put an ad in the in our Penny Saver, which is like a free, classified ad, and said, "Hey, I found a bunch of surfboards. I didn't say I took them, but I had to have taken them.
I found a bunch of surfboards. If you're missing,
I returned like 5 of them. And the guy was like, "Man, you found all these?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I wouldn't think you would have stolen them, or else you wouldn't have been trying to give them back." I was like, "Nah, I didn't steal shit."
Back in the days of the roaches, when Rohypnol was still like all the rage in the 90s, I had gone out and I had taken a Rohypnol and gone to a bar and been drinking, and I came home to an apartment complex that I lived in, which was no joke. It was the apartment complex that every cop in Houston lived in. It was crazy, and I would not have moved in had I known that, but when I rented, it wasn't nighttime and I didn't see all the cruisers that guys brought home to park there. It was terrifying. The first night, dude, it's like 30 cop cars parked in this. But I drove a Saab 900. And when I got home, I followed the walking path. I drove up onto the curb and I followed the walking path in my car all the way to my front door. So I effed up worse than you could. Everything you could do wrong. I had my laptop was in the freezer. I had all of my money on a coffee table. I had the front door wide open, and there was an eviction notice on the front door. And my wife was in the bedroom, and when I woke up, I knocked on the bedroom door. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" My money was like hundreds, 50s, 20s, 10s, ones, all the way down, and you could see it from the front door. Anybody that walked by could have peeled me for thousands of dollars. And I was selling substances at the time, and I knocked on the door. I was like, "What the hell happened here?" And she's like, "Are you kidding, you loser?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "We're being evicted." And I'm like, "No, I can go down there and work it out." And I stepped outside, and there was my car. And I was like, "Oh my God, yeah, I'm done." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I should be arrested." But yeah, and no memory of it, nothing, no memory of it. Just a complete and utter, nothing. And this is no shit, right? You're lucid as hell when you take it. I sat down once and wrote myself a letter. I swear to you, I still have it. I wrote myself a letter, like, dude, you've got to stop. You're gonna read this in the morning, and you're not gonna remember writing it. Like, I wrote it to myself and read it in the morning. You know what I did? Then you know what I did? I took the remainder of them that I had, and I put them in a box, and I overnighted them to Johnny Scoville. I'm not kidding. Without even asking him, I sent him like 25 boxes of roaches. And he called me. He's like, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, "Move them up there, dude. They're $5 or $6 a piece. Just move them for me. Get me the money back." This is true story. Gospel true story. So like 3 weeks later, I get a box of roaches. My brother packages up everything that he hadn't done in 3 weeks and sent him back with a letter that was like, "Get these things out of my life, man." He's like, and he was doing the same thing. He's like, "I wake up in the morning. I don't remember what the hell I did the night before." He's like, "I don't want these things anywhere near me, man."
Yeah.
Jason P, good to see you, man. Hey, just real quick while Jason P is here, because I know Jason.
All right, Jason
got rid of a nozzle yesterday over on one of the channels. If you're a mod for me, You will never have to apologize to me for getting rid of somebody, ever. I promise. I don't want an apology. I don't want an explanation. If there's somebody that's bringing hate, you get rid of them. That's why you got a wrench. It's because I trust you 100% in everything. Never have to explain to me or to anyone. If there's somebody that's doing that, there's a reason you got a wrench in your hands, because I trust you. Am I frozen?
Yeah.
Damn. Kristen Melinda did a great interview yesterday on the lifeboat. On Chase the Heat. If you did not see that interview, man, it's worthy of going and checking out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go check it out.
Yeah. She did an amazing interview. Really did a great job, and Johnny nailed it. He was loving it. He said they're going to do another one. That was the first phase of their interviews, but definitely going to be doing another one. So if you guys haven't seen, he's doing a segment called Meet.
Good to see Jason. Thanks for stopping by, Jason.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jason. He's doing a segment called Meet the Wrenches, where he's introducing the mods to everybody. Man, I think that's such a cool concept. I really do.
That is a cool concept,
isn't it? I love that. I really do. But it's a great interview. You should definitely go and check it out. Daughter of the King says, when is the Jester story coming out? This week. I'm going to be
I'm doing all of it today, Wednesday. Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm going to be finishing it all up today. I'll get it over to you. God, I got a lot of work to do today.
We're good.
And I have therapy. Nice. I have therapy right now, actually, at 11.
Well, we're ending 5 minutes early so that you can get a jump on this, and I can go. And
I got to start my truck, actually. Okay.
Look at him all pimping it from doing it inside like he's cool as hell.
It's freezing out there, man.
Put a nice song on too when you get in there. Is it cranking some Grateful Dead for you?
It'll connect to my phone right now, and it'll be playing probably YouTube.
Pimpy.
Yeah.
All right.
Every time I jump in my truck, it's Reese.
Yeah,
for real.
You could do a lot worse. All right, peeps. You're taking us out.
Everyone for coming by today. We really appreciate it. It was a great show. You guys notice I changed the titles. I'm not going to be doing the same title like I have been, just so maybe it'll get more people interested in the show. Because I've just been doing the same name, same title, just calling it episode 13, episode 14. So I'll put in the title what we're going to be talking about for the day. So
awesome. Yes. Awesome. Loving it. And for those keeping score, we broke 400 today in the chat. That's
which is double.
That's a really cool thing. Yeah, we were over 420. That's bigger than any show we've done so far. We are getting bigger every day.
I think that had a lot to do with changing the title today. Yeah.
I guarantee you that helped, especially with everything that's going on with the Blake Lively stuff. So thank you, Casper. And for
all right, brother.
And I will see all of you today on the boat, hopefully.
Mahalo.